Hey guys, well, I know it's been a pretty long time since I did a video. I only actually did one video this year, and I was really hoping to do more, but because of working full-time hours at my job, as well as some other things I'm getting get into, I wasn't really able to do as many videos this year as I was really hoping for. I mean, and and trust me when I say I definitely wanted to do more videos, but because work hours, I was also suffering from a little writer's block, I guess you can call it. Just couldn't really think of a video for a while. And and another reason actually is because I actually worked on a Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan film a few months earlier this year. It's called the Sawyer Massacre. It's actually out already on YouTube. I'm going to leave actually a link to the Sawyer Massacre in the description box down there, so you guys can check it out. Some of you probably already have seen it, but if you haven't, check it out. And so, since we just had Christmas already, I decided to do a ranking video of the Silent Night Deadly sorry, the Silent Night Deadly Night series. And this is actually a horror series I've always really enjoyed, especially the first one in particular is one of my favorite holiday slasher movies. Alright, so I'm going to rank these movies worst to best. Alright, and we actually just got Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, 4, and 5 on Blu-ray this year, so I'm going to start the ranking with the worst one. In my opinion is Silent Night, Deadly Night 4, Initiation. I was never really a fan of the fourth movie in particular. I mean, it didn't really feel like a Silent Night, Deadly Night movie. I'm getting guessed they probably just wanted to do something different with this one instead of just being a slasher movie. And I give them credit for doing something different, but as I said, it just didn't feel like a Silent Night, Deadly Night movie. I mean, it really wasn't connected to any of the other movies. It was only just a sequel through title, and it didn't have anything to do with like a killer Santa Claus. It just was about like witchcraft. There was giant bugs, so it was a very weird movie. And I do know the alternate title was actually Bugs, but what also kind of bothers me was the fact it was directed by Brian Usna, who I've actually always enjoyed as a director. I liked Bride of Reanimator, Beyond Reanimator, Society, Dentist, and Return of the Living Dead 3. So I think he's a pretty good director. But this movie I just wasn't a fan of. But it's not the only not the only movie of his I wasn't a fan of. I also wasn't a fan of Dentist 2. But there was something I'll say that I did like. I mean, I did like the practical effects, so those were pretty good. I also liked the music, and I also thought Clint Howard, who was actually right on the cover over here, was pretty creepy. But other than that, I just wasn't a fan of the movie at all. And the next one is Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, Better Watch Out. So Silent Night, Deadly Night 3 was actually a direct sequel to Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. So it takes place after that one, and we have the character Ricky from Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, played by Bill Moseley in this one, so it's a different actor in this one. But I wasn't really too much of a fan of this one either because it was just pretty boring. I wasn't really a fan of the way they had Ricky portrayed in this one. So he was portrayed very different in this one. He didn't really feel like the same character from the second movie. He was just pretty much just says Laura for pretty much that's like the only thing he says in it. And but however, I did like that at least this one was actually connected to the other movies. I did like the makeup as well. I wasn't a fan of the kills. I'm just gonna say that first of all, because most of the kills were just off screen, and the other ones you see just the aftermath of the dead bodies. So I did like the makeup for the dead bodies, as well as also Bill Moseley's his brain dome that he has. And Bill Moseley was also pretty good in it as well. But in general, Bill Moseley is a good actor. Other than that, I really wasn't a fan of it. I mean, I didn't like the direction that went with it. I didn't like and it was pretty slow, boring. So not really one I really care for. And next one is Silent Night Deadly Night 5, The Toy Maker. So this one was actually, it's a fun entry, not the best one, mainly because, like, just like the fourth one, it didn't really feel too much like a Silent Night Deadly Night movie, but it felt a little more like one than the fourth movie, though, because this one, like, had, like, at least a interesting premise of this guy who makes these toys that are pretty much, as they say, were pretty much booby traps toys, and, like, makes them, like, kill kids. So I actually thought that was a pretty good premise for, like, a Christmas horror movie, like this toy maker who makes killer toys. And, like, it's a fun movie, and, like, I did like the practical effects and whatnot. But, like, it's definitely also, like, a little hard to actually to say if it's actually connected to the fourth movie, because there's cameos from 3 actors from the fourth movie. And, like, some websites say they're the same characters, some of them say they're actually not, they just have the same names. So it's confusing with that whole thing. So it's one that's, I think, is actually a fun entry, but it's not the best one. Okay, and the next one is the remake that's just titled Silent Night. And I got this one actually autographed by Malcolm McDowell. I did a review of this movie years ago, around the time when it came out. And if you remember, I actually did enjoy this movie quite a bit. It has its flaws, yes, like there's some bad acting in it. There's also some, like, bad CGI effects. But, however, despite there was some bad acting, there was also some good acting here and there. And, like, there was some pretty good practical gore effects. Oh, another flaw it had was its lack of story as well. There's also, like, a lot of, like, shaky cam as well. But it's one I think is actually one of the better horror remakes. I did like the little tributes to the original Silent Night Deadly Night while still being its own movie. And so I actually say, if you haven't seen this, check it out. This one I may get a little buzz for putting this one, like, pretty high, because I know this is considered one of the worst sequels of all time, and I can see why too, and I'm going to address some of the reasons why. But this one has always been, like, one heck of a guilty pleasure movie for me, and it's Silent Night Deadly Night Part 2. So, and I could see why people would probably put this one very low on their list, but the reason why it's number 2 for me, why it's so high up, is because it's a movie that's just so fun to watch. It's a movie I enjoy watching. It's a movie I can just laugh at, and I do say laugh at, not with, at. I mean, yes, the movie's very cheesy. Yes, a lot of the movie is just footage from the first movie. There's, like, at least maybe 40, maybe to 45 minutes worth of just footage from the first movie. So, and I actually know the reason why there's, like, just so much footage of the first movie is because the first movie was, like, one of the most controversial movies of the 80s. And so, like, people protested the movie. It got, like, a lot of, like, angry letters being said because they didn't like they were using the image of Santa Claus as their killer. And so after, like, all the protests the first movie suffered, it got pulled from the theater after 2 weeks of being in the theater. And so this was actually their way of getting the first movie back in the theater by just making this a flashback movie. So I can understand that. But also, the star of this movie, Eric Freeman, is one heck of a bad actor, but his bad acting pretty much sells the movie. Like, he's just got one heck of, like, funny one-liners, especially Garbage Day. I mean, come on. Just that scene alone was just, like, it's a movie I can just all out laugh at, especially that scene. And they actually did a little tribute to Garbage Day in the remake. So this is a movie I just can't stop but have a good time with. It's a movie I've enjoyed watching. I've watched it a couple of times, and it's just a very fun watch. And, of course, number 1 is no surprise, is the original Silent Night, Deadly Night. So I really liked this movie since I first saw it. I liked how like it's both like a slasher movie as well as a psychological horror movie about this kid who watched his parents being killed by this psycho in a Santa Claus suit, and so then after that him and his brother get sent to the orphanage where they're raised by nuns who teach them discipline, who punish them, and then as he gets older, he this punishment he suffered from being raised by nuns, as well as also the trauma he suffered as a kid, comes back to him, and so now he becomes a killer Santa Claus. So I really liked the practical gore effects. I liked the dark tone, the music. So it's one of my favorite holiday slasher movies of all time, and it's one I recommend if you're into 80s slasher movies. This is definitely a good one. All right. And that's about it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this ranking. And I really do hope I can do more videos come next year. I just hope it's not another big setback as it was this year of just working full-time hours. And like I said, leave me a comment below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and also check out the Sawyer Massacre. All right. See you guys later. Bye.